You guys are late.
What you think about when you're born into a fire.
Robotics team, that sounds fun. Liam did a summer program like that. I think it had to stack boxes on this like shelf thing that had like a bar blocking, but you couldn't stack them directly. You had to like go to the side and stack them. It's pretty cool.
Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To blame. Hate is base. The
Trump wants to start running nuclear tests again. Why the fuck not, dude? Why the fuck? Let's just go for it.
Hey Daddy,
Is this live? No.
Linda Binda from TikTok.
Never is.
I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Oh, welcome everybody. I am Wilbert, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Trying to get in here earlier and get my schedule back to somewhat respectable instead of starting at 11 or 11:30 every night. So trying to get in here earlier. We'll have to keep moving that more and more forward, but we'll see how it works. Thank you guys for showing up again. And to the troopers, they keep showing up, even though I keep making the show later and later, hoping you guys will forget about it. Couldn't run you out of here with a shitty mop. That's right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, do it at buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer. That's the only website I got that's still working, and I don't have time to fix the other one currently, even though it's been down for like a year. So that's where we're at currently. Let's listen to Trump's plan to start testing nuclear weapons. Why not, right? Why not?
Looks like President Trump put out a Truth Social post saying, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. Now, I'm not sure whether that means testing the warheads themselves or testing the delivery systems. America already fires a handful of Minuteman missiles every year to periodically test the stockpile. We haven't had an underground nuclear test since 1992. Since then, testing has been done on the world's largest supercomputer, a computer called El Capitan at Lawrence Livermore National Labs. Russia's last nuclear test was in
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. We don't like, short of firing the delivery systems every once in a while as they're expiring just to make sure the stockpile's still good. Perfect. But the actual warheads, why wouldn't we simulate that?
Since 1992. Since then, testing has been done on the world's largest supercomputer, a computer called El Capitan at Lawrence Livermore National Labs. Russia's last nuclear test was in 1990. China's last nuclear test was in 1996. I don't even know if we have the personnel or the infrastructure to conduct one of those underground nuclear tests. I'm sure a lot of those personnel have aged out or retired. Now, the Air Force is developing a new ICBM called the Sentinel. It's supposed to use the W-87 warhead, and the new warhead, the W-87-1, is supposed to come along later. So I can see why wanting to test the new physics package on a new warhead would make sense, but it might not be totally necessary since we have years of nuclear test data in the first place, and a lot of this stuff can be done with computers. Looks like President Trump put out a Truth Social post.
This is literally the reason. It's literally the reason that we built supercomputers to test shit like this, right? I don't know. What's Rhyming Beth been covering lately? Are your kids trick-or-treating tomorrow? Yes. Well, yes. Liam's currently out of town on a school trip, but he's supposed to be back tomorrow evening just in time for trick-or-treating. So, yeah, I have to pick him up, get his costume, and then get him there. How realistic is that wine invasion of Venezuela would be impossible? Here we go.
Hey guys, we need to talk about Venezuela. This video is going to be a little bit different because, as you can see, I'm getting new floors put in. I kind of had to do that because I had some flooding. So I'll tell you something, man. Us YouTubers, we are famous, not rich. So I figured I would make a salad. I'm making turkey. I've got some rice here, and I have some spinach here in the refrigerator. So I'm going to make like a green and grain bowl for dinner tonight, even though like I barely have a place to sleep because my bed is piled with stuff from the flooring contractors. But I want to talk about what's going on in Venezuela. A lot of people think that we might be invading Venezuela soon. And if you want more information on that, I strongly suggest that you check out Preston Stewart. He has been covering the situation in Venezuela extensively. He's a fantastic guy. Take a look at Preston Stewart's channel. I personally don't believe we're going to be doing anything in Venezuela anytime soon. There's a reason for that. Gee, I sound just like freaking, what's that guy's name? Peter Zion right now. But basically, here's the deal. We sent a couple of destroyers, a Marine Amphibious Ready Group. We've destroyed a couple of fast boats that may have been carrying drugs. At least 6 of them.
Oh, shit. I forgot. The Department of Defense came out today and said that they have no idea the identities of the people that we've blown up on the boats. But they're 100% sure they had drugs on them. We don't know who they are, where they're from, what their names were, how long they've been doing it, what cartel they work for. We have no data whatsoever, but they're definitely drug dealers.
I believe 6 that we know of, or 6 where footage has been released of us destroying these fast boats with either drones or Hellfire missiles, most likely. And now the USS Ford is headed over to the Caribbean Sea, maybe for an invasion, maybe for a show of force. Because when you're a dictator, nothing is worse than having an American aircraft carrier off your coast. That is an incentive to do the right thing. Absolutely. So Maduro has been a thorn in the side of President Trump for a very long time. His last election, Maduro's election, was somewhat contested, and it seemed like he refused to leave. And the results of the election were somewhat questionable.
Yeah, he pulled a Trump successfully.
But Trump wants this guy gone. Now, as to whether or not Venezuela is a main conduit for drugs, I don't know. I know that as long as Americans like drugs, there will be an industry of people willing to send drugs or risk their lives willing to get drugs to America just because, supply and demand, right? If you have a lot of demand, there will be suppliers who are willing to enter that pipeline. Now, I will say another thing. When you put the full weight of America's intelligence gathering and military capability behind interdicting drug vessels, that kind of changes the risk calculus. And some cartels may decide, you know what, this is not worth that smoke. We should get out of the business. We did a little bit of fighting drug cartels back in the 1980s, although that was mainly helping local nations with their counter-drug capabilities, giving them equipment, giving them intelligence.
I have no problem with taking out drug dealers. I would much rather see them like in trials and in jails and stuff. It shouldn't be an instant death sentence, right? And the problem that I do have is I just don't trust them. The same reason, like we talked about it the other night, death penalty, right? It's hard to be all gung-ho on the death penalty, even though I believe, like, if you've done something to it like a kid, right, that should be automatic death penalty right off the bat. The problem is getting the wrong people, dude. Getting the wrong people.
I don't think we did any kind of clear and present danger type strikes on these drug cartels back in the 80s, though there may have been one-offs here and there. But I can tell you that the problem with invading Venezuela right now, and one of the reasons I really haven't done any videos on it, is that I don't really see that as a possibility. Or I find it unlikely. If I were to use ICD-203, I would call it unlikely. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Reason number one is this guy up here, the one who looks like he should be in a boy band reunion. His name is Eldridge Colby. He's a pretty influential guy, and he's a very competent guy, and he works as the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. And this guy has a raging hatred of China that is even worse than my raging hatred of the PLA. And I can
Guess who showed up in Venezuela this week? Guess who showed up in Venezuela this week? The Wagner Group. It's been a while since we've heard about them, huh?
tell you that the big fear at the Department of Defense or Department of War, whatever you want to call it, the big fear is that we are going to be going to war with China in 2027 or 2028, because that's when Xi Jinping has said the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, needs to be ready to go to war with China. And
no, so basically what happened was the Wagner Group. So the Wagner Group's always been around. They did Crimea. They did the Donbass. They were the people that they basically snuck into the Donbass to say, hey, we want to be Russian, and this is a civil war in Ukraine. Then they led that revolt, right? And their leader led this revolt, and they started taking out, like marching towards Moscow. Somehow that was negotiated down by a third party and brought back down and blah, 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 whatever. Another world leader came in and negotiated between Putin and the Wagner Group leader. 2 weeks later, the Wagner Group leader, by the way, was given amnesty to leave the country, promised that nothing would happen to his men. His men would continue to serve under, Russian command. They'd be taken care of. Nobody would go after him or his family or whatever, and was given transport to a third-party country. 2 weeks later, his plane just blows up. Completely had nothing to do with it. Had absolutely nothing to do with the revolt he led towards Moscow and the things that he said about Putin. It just, somebody forgot to strap down the hidden explosives in the cargo bay. So anybody could have made that mistake, especially if they're hidden secret explosives, right? That's not going to be on a checklist anywhere.
And if we entered Venezuela,
But the Wagner Group is still there. What they are operating. So the reason that Russia loved to use the Wagner Group is because they're like a paramilitary group that Russia can say, that's not us. Right? We have our military. What those guys do, yeah, sometimes our interests align, but they're under a different command. They're this, they're that, they're whatever. So basically what Russia did was they put the Wagner Group under the command of a different Russian general and severed his ties to the Russian military. So even though he's, for all intents and purposes, he is a Russian military general still, and still commanded by Putin, he has this degree of separation. The same way the last commander was, right? Last commander, him and Putin were really good friends. The reason the Wagner Group marched to revolt, if you believe their leader, he said that they were out on the front lines with their guys. They were not getting resupplied. They weren't getting the intel that they were supposed to be getting, and that the battlefield, the regular Russian troops were so confused on the battlefield that his own guys were getting shot in the back by incompetent leaders, sending regular Russian army up behind the Wagner Group, thinking they're Ukrainian and executing them, basically. Like you don't expect your own side to come shoot you in the back, and they were very upset about that, rightfully so. It was like the communication, the planning, the communication, the command part of it had just fallen apart. No one knew where the friendlies were. They just treated everybody like enemies. They still haven't fixed that, I'm sure. But yeah, they're under a different command, and they are now in Venezuela. Actually, they landed with apparently some extremely heavy cargo planes, which we can only assume what were on those heavy Russian heavy cargo planes with troops and materials.
it would consume quite a few resources, quite a few smart weapons, attacking targets inside Venezuela to actually prepare for an invasion. And you might say, well, Ryan, didn't we do something like that in Panama back in 1989 under George H.W. Bush? Yeah, we did. Back then, Panama...
Oh, wait, let me read this right quick. Out of Berlin from the Associated Press. A Russian transport aircraft of a type linked to the country's military and serving the former Wagner mercenary group has landed in Venezuela capital over the weekend, signaling heightened Russian interest in the Latin American country. The Ilyushin 2-76 transport aircraft with the registration tail number RA78765 arrived in Caracas on Sunday after a 2-day journey that took it from Russia via Armenia, Algeria, Morocco, all the way to Latin America. I'm not going to read the other 5 countries. To Latin America, flight records show. It appears the aircraft embarked on his trip from an airport in the greater Moscow area, with a transponder signal first being picked up shortly after takeoff. The multi-stop journey is emblematic of this circuit of the routes used to avoid Western airspace, I can't speak tonight, or possible cargo inspections in unfriendly countries. So they hop from country to country to kind of avoid customs and what they have on board. So we can kind of guess what they have on board, right? All right, we're gonna get this. We're gonna pronounce this right.
Circuitous.
Circuitous. Why did I want to say circuitous? Circuitous. Emblematic of a now I can't say it again. Hold on. Circuitous. Emblematic of a circuitous routes used to avoid Western airspace or possible cargo inspections in unfriendly countries. It is also possible that deliveries or pickups were made along the way as well. Russia has a military presence in Algeria, maintains an industrial footprint in these other countries. Relations with Morocco are cordial. It's going through each country. Russian mercenaries have also been crossing over from neighboring Mali, stopping in Russia-friendly countries in West Africa. Also allowed the aircraft to refuel before crossing the Atlantic. The Dash 76 can transport up to 50 tons of cargo or up to 200 people. Aircraft of this type are known to have delivered small arms, military supplies, and even mercenaries on Russians' behalf in the past. Larger deliveries, such as an S-400 air defense system, would likely require multiple trips. Zitrotrans, the operator of the aircraft, has a fleet of 6 transport aircraft under it and is under sanctions by the U.S., Canada, and Ukraine for its ties to the Russian military. It has delivered military equipment such as rockets, warheads, and helicopter parts globally, including to regions where the mercenary Wagner Group has been active. The Wagner Group, formerly headed by Prigozhin, that's the guy that got blown up, has been a key tool used by Russian President Vladimir Putin to extend his country's global geopolitical reach, and was particularly active in Africa, with reports of some activity in Latin America. Following the group's mutiny in 2023, it was absorbed in the Russian military proper, with its African operations turned into the Russian African Corps. The latest Russian moves in the region come as tensions between Venezuela, a longtime Moscow-aligned country, and the United States have reached new heights. So you know Maduro is like, hey, you got to send us some help. That's what I'm worried about, honestly, Rob P. No one, and I'll repeat this again, no one, no country, no person, no one, as far as anybody has witnessed, has figured out how to combat small, fast, maneuverable drones with explosives. I don't want to see anybody die, okay? I hope everybody lives long and prosperous lives. But the longer we as a country can, I believe we ought to supply Ukraine, right? We ought to help them in their fight against Russia. I believe what Russia did is fucking horrible. If we let them do it here, they'll do it somewhere else, right? And then we'll be drug into that. But speaking very selfishly, as long as we as a country can sit back and watch the tactics, watch the countermeasures, see how they evolve on the battlefield, and sit back and just throw money at research, at R&D, just fucking bottomless checks at R&D, the better we are off. The next war that we get into, when we have U.S. soldiers on the ground, there will be small maneuverable drones that cannot be jammed because they're pulling fiber optic cable like a tow missile, hunting down and flying into our soldiers and exploding. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter if it's in fucking a third world country or a first world country. There will be these hunter-killer drones on the battlefield, and I don't know that we're ready for them yet. And I damn sure I'm not ready to be scrolling through Twitter and seeing a bunch of Americans running for fucking drones and being blown up and shit. Like, I would rather just not do that.
2027 or 2028, because that's when Xi Jinping has said the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, needs to be ready to go to war with China. And if we entered Venezuela, it would consume quite a few resources, quite a few smart weapons, attacking targets inside Venezuela too.
And we need to hoard those for China right now. Even when we're talking about like lasing targets and we're talking about guided bombs, unless we're just talking about big ass fucking dumb bombs, right? Just explosives that we drop out and they just fall wherever they fall. We need to be hoarding our supplies right now in anticipation for fighting China.
Actually prepare for an invasion. And you might say, well, Ryan, didn't we do something like that in Panama back in 1989 under George H.W. Bush? Yeah, we did. Back then, Panama's population was about 3 million people, and we had military bases in Panama, so we essentially had control over that area, very short logistical supply lines. Logistics aren't that much of a concern. I mean, if there's one thing America is good at, it is getting stuff from one place to the other. But I see this as a much different fight, because if we were to invade, let's say, Venezuela and hit a capital city like Caracas, we also have to worry about the rest of the country. And now what do you have? you have an insurgency. Now, whether or not people would be willing to fight is a different story. Last year there was talk about Venezuela maybe invading Guyana, and I didn't do a video about that either because I didn't think it was going to happen, mainly because the Venezuelan military, they don't have enough calories to actually invade anyone. I spoke with
Do you guys know that on during Trump's first term that he had the CIA basically harassing Maduro in Venezuela through cyber attacks? Everybody remembers that, right?
former Venezuelan officer, and he said like people were selling their equipment for food, stuff like that. So if Maduro thinks he has an army that can stand up to the United States even as an insurgency force, he may be sorely mistaken. But what I don't really see is any kind of full boots on the ground sort of invasion, mainly because that's going to eat up a lot of smart weapons. And an insurgency operation, well, now you're talking you have to move active duty forces to Venezuela, you activate National Guard going to Venezuela to perform stabilization operations, and now essentially you have Iraq or Afghanistan all over again. I saw that movie. I saw that in the theater, and like literally in theater. And it didn't work out that well for us. I mean, Iraq was a better case than Afghanistan, but at this point, we shouldn't be worrying about tin pot dictators in Venezuela. We need to be worrying about China, and that's one thing Elbridge Colby and I have in common, other than our incredible good looks. So I think that's kind of the situation with Venezuela. I think that we might do a show of force and try to convince Maduro, you know what, you might as well go to some African country and live out the rest of your life like Bashar al-Assad is in Russia. Just chill out somewhere with your millions and with your family and enjoy being a former dictator of a country. But I really don't see us actually taking the time and the troops to invade Venezuela because we have much bigger things to worry about. Such as China, and doing so would eat up a heck of a lot of smart munitions that we're going to need for the fight against the PLA when China invades Taiwan in a couple of years. And one little secret to my little my sad salad here. And yes, I am eating salad. I'm trying to live. I'm not going to give up smoking, but I am trying to eat better ever since my gallbladder kind of exploded a couple of months ago. But I typically do turkey, and I do spinach, and I put like this homemade kind of adobo seasoning on top, and I think it is absolutely delicious. And I'll tell you this, I will eat the hell out of some spinach. I absolutely love spinach, and this is
amazing.
Kind of the result here. My little homemade cava green and green bowl. So that's the situation in Venezuela. It's one of the
maybe. So China's really weird when they buy their oil from Venezuela. They buy it through a bunch of third-party nations and third-party countries and shit. But some people estimate they buy as much as 90% of the oil they produce.
Reasons
why, or 90% of their exports.
I choose not to really cover the topic. I really don't think it's going to be an issue for the United States. And thank you guys so much for watching.
It's me, Captain Bannon of the documentary Team Yankee. When I'm not kicking commie butts, I'm...
All right. As the United States blows up alleged drug boats in international waters near South America, ordinary Venezuelans are arming themselves and joining the military. They are doing it as the Trump administration increased the bounty for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's arrest to $50 million. And for the same things happen in Colombia, by the way. So not a lot of people are talking about Colombia, but some of these strikes have been against Colombian boats. The Colombian president was like they were fishermen. They weren't even drug boats. And the Colombian president is, get ready for this, that horrible, horrible word that Trump can't deal with. Colombia's president is currently a leftist. And the right doesn't like him. The center left doesn't like him. The progressives are really the only one that likes him. But from what I hear from people that are in Colombia, they are banding together behind their president. Some of them are telling him, like, they're supporting him. Whether or not they're telling him to, like, back off, hey, leave it alone, just ignore it, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are telling him to stand up to Trump. Like, we don't have to take this shit, blah, blah, blah. But it does seem like they're banding together around him, and people are becoming super patriotic in Colombia currently. And for weeks now, events known as Militia Saturdays have been held to enlist people to join the Venezuelan militia, a citizen reserve corps that works alongside the army. In the recent years has been made up of more senior citizens, but the recent strikes and military pressure from the U.S. has seen Venezuela pushing a recruitment drive. Captain Rafael Estudillo joined the militia 22 years ago and says there has been a surge in signups following Mr. Maduro encouraging citizens to do so. Numbers have grown by 35% just in my sector, the captain said. We want each person to learn about weaponry, to lose their fear of guns, because at any moment they're going to have to use them. Maybe you don't like the gun, but you have to use it. That's a direct quote. There's a sense of patriotism. It's about defending and even giving my life, if necessary, to defend the country. U.S. President Donald Trump has been pushing a hardline and deadly stance against drug trafficking. I think we're just going to kill people who are bringing drugs into our country, okay? We're just going to, kill them, Mr. Trump said earlier this month. He has laid much of the blame on Venezuela and Mr. Maduro, accusing him of being the leader of crime syndicate Tren de Aragua, which the U.S. designated a foreign terrorist organization this year. Mr. Maduro denies this and has accused the U.S. of fabricating a new eternal war. It's all about intimidation. The U.S. military has destroyed at least 14 vessels in the Caribbean Sea and Pacific Ocean that alleges were trying to transport narcotics in the country. At least 57 people have been killed. This is a law enforcement problem. It's not a war problem, even though they're trying to define it as an immediate threat. Chatham House's senior fellow for Latin America, Dr. Christopher Sabatini, said of the U.S. strikes. These are not armed actors. They represent that represent an immediate threat, which is necessary for killing people in the theater of war. Honestly, this has got to be walking a tightrope to what a war crime is. It's fucking crazy. What's going to happen? I've said this the last 3 shows in a row if you've been listening. Somebody's family, either somebody from a first world country, an English-speaking country, their family is going to be on vacation, returning from vacation, going on a fishing trip in a charter boat, in something, and they're going to be blown up by the U.S., and it's going to hit the media. What Trump has opened up now is basically a shoot first and ask questions later approach, and unfortunately, oftentimes, the victims can't answer those questions because they've been blown out of the water, quite literally. The U.S. has provided no evidence that these boats were trafficking drugs and given scant details of those killed. Now, let's talk about Congress. Marco Rubio came to Congress and said, don't worry. Listen, we're going to have a meeting. I am going to assure you of the legality of these strikes. He talked to Republicans. He talked to Democrats. He talked to the committees that would be like the Intelligence Committee, the committees that need to know this shit. You are going to get the information. I promise you, which is kind of backwards, right? You think that they would have the information first, that these are valid strikes, and then the strikes would happen. But now we're just doing strikes, and then he promises that they're going to come in and give the information to Congress, the people who rightfully deserve it, that we've elected on our behalf to make decisions like this. As a whole, they're going to get that information. But what actually happens? What actually happens? Not so. Instead, they picked 2 or 3 super Republican zealots that support Trump no matter what. They took them and showed them the information, banned all Democrats, banned anybody that's ever questioned Trump. Nobody was allowed to go. Like even people that are Republican but have just recently not aligned with Trump. Like, God damn it. Rand Paul. Rand Paul is a Trump guy, right? Well, most of the time. He didn't get an invite, right? None of these people got an invite unless you're willing to kiss the ring. And that's what happened in the last couple of days. Check this out.
What is this meeting, and were you really not invited?
Katie, this is so freaking outrageous. I mean, this is not some process foul. We're talking about putting American troops in harm's way. A week earlier, I got the most classified brief in what's called the Gang of Eight. You know, the absolute leadership supposed to get the exact stuff the president gets. Marco Rubio.
The Gang of Eight, right? They're supposed to get what the president gets. Nothing's held back from them, right? Right? Nope.
the absolute leadership supposed to get the exact stuff the president gets. Marco Rubio, who's my friend and who I supported, promised me that we would have the legal opinion of why this is justified, because our sailors could be put in harm's way if they are illegally killing folks without any legal justification. And he promised that. Now, I'm not
Right. We're not worried that the drug dealers are going to attack a vessel, right? They're not going to attack a fucking naval destroyer, right? Or even an amphibious assault vehicle, right? They're just running. But what is the legal implications of the person that's pulling the trigger and they can't even ID the motherfuckers? Who are we putting in trouble for just taking orders now?
illegally killing folks without any legal justification. And he promised that. Now, I'm not going to blame Rubio because he immediately left town to go, around the world. But we were waiting for, when's the
These would be classified as extrajudicial executions, I think. If the world came together, this is not this is a law enforcement issue, not a war fighting issue. And I think they would call them extrajudicial executions.
Folks without any legal justification. And he promised that. Now, I'm not going to blame Rubio because he immediately left town to go, around the world. But we were waiting for, when's the documents going to come? When are you going to provide a fuller brief? And then the outrageousness of saying, we're going to invite a few random Republicans, not necessarily folks that are on the appropriate committees, because they're afraid of the vote next week that may say, hey, Donald Trump, no, you can't go to war in Venezuela without some congressional oversight, to invite only Republicans. And I am beyond furious with.
And it's not just the boats either, right? There was a map down here at the bottom that said,
administration.
What did it say?
And he promised, I'm not going to blame Rubio because he immediately left town to go, around the world.
14 strikes, 61 fatalities, and here they are located off the coasts of Colombia, Venezuela, and Mexico. Remember, it's not just the boats. Trump says now they're coming by land and we're going to have to do land strikes. As if that's just like a throwaway, hey, land strikes. As if the boat shit wasn't bad enough. But instead, they take a few random Republicans, take them into a closed-door meeting, show them the legal justification, and tell them to go back and tell Congress it's all good. That's not how this works.
But we were waiting for, when's the documents going to come? When are you going to provide a fuller brief? And then the outrageousness of saying, we're going to invite a few random Republicans, not necessarily folks that are on the appropriate committees, because they're afraid of the vote next week that may say, hey, Donald Trump, no, you can't go to war in Venezuela without some congressional oversight, to invite only Republicans. And I am beyond furious with this administration. In any normal world, somebody gets fired, but I'm also and I'm a bipartisan guy. I'm so bitterly disappointed with my Republican friends that somebody in that room didn't say, holy crap, we're getting the most classified stuff that we've been asking for. Why aren't there any Democrats in this room?
What is this meeting? And
why aren't there any Democrats in this room? So the UN Security Council says that to use lethal military force the way we are, that it has to be a clear case of self-defense against an armed attack. An armed attack. That could break all the way down to somebody could be ramming you with a boat and you could technically consider them armed, right? They're using the boat as a weapon. But still, these people are just driving a boat, and are they running drugs? Maybe. I don't know. But they're just driving a boat. They have no idea, right? They don't hear a bang or a flash, no warning, no nut. The boat just explodes and they're dead. That's it. And they're 1,000% considered civilians. I don't understand. I'm surprised more people aren't upset about this, I guess I should say. The U.S. has provided no evidence that these boats were trafficking drugs and giving scant details on those killed. It is part of the broader military posturing the U.S. says is an anti-drug operation. Up to 14% of its naval assets are currently positioned in the Caribbean. Caribbean Sea off the coast of Venezuela, with 10,000 troops deployed there. Last week, Mr. Trump ordered the USS Gerald Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, to be redeployed from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean. The military presence is far beyond what you could possibly need for striking a few boats carrying drugs across the Caribbean. Phil Gunson, an Andes region senior analyst, said. That could be done with a couple of ships and the involvement of the U.S. Coast Guard. It's obvious that this buildup is to do with intimidating Maduro, intimidating the military, in particular that has been propping up his government. The ultimate goal is to get rid of Maduro. In other words, regime change. How many times has Trump bitched about regime change? Anyways. Mr. Maduro claims that he has 4.5 million militia members, like Captain Estudillo, ready to respond if the U.S. escalates the situation further, but most analysts believe that is a vast exaggeration. Most independent estimates suggest that that at the outset, they may have a few 100,000 actually on the books. So a lot of it is rhetoric, Mr. Gunson said. If you're faced with the most powerful military in the world, determined to overthrow the government, the militia will not be much of a deterrent. While Venezuela is known to be a transit hub for drugs to be sent from its coastline out to the world, it isn't a major producer of cocaine like Colombia. It also doesn't play a significant role in distributing the synthetic opioid fentanyl, which has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. That's China. Fentanyl is mostly made or processed through Mexico and enters the U.S. through its southern borders. Yet, for the last 2 months, Venezuela has been the main target of the U.S. president. Mr. Gunson believes that is because Mr. Maduro is an easy target. I think they're hitting Maduro because they hope to send a message to the rest of the region. And they're hoping that nobody is going to come to the defense of Maduro because he's unpopular domestically and internationally. Trump's grudge. Mr. Maduro assumed power when Hugo Chavez died in 2013. He has widely been accused of election fraud by much of the international community, and in 2019, Mr. Trump's first term in office, the U.S. president recognized Venezuela's then opposition leader, Juan Guaido, as the country's interim president. At the same time, Juan called for the military to defect and recognize his government over Maduro's government. Well, it failed. It was deeply humiliating for Donald Trump. He even invited Juan to come to his State of the Union address, recognized him as the president, saluted him, and then everything collapsed. Trump hates more than anything to be embarrassed by somebody. Despite the Trump administration's maximum pressure policy and economic sanctions, Mr. Maduro held on to power. Venezuela officially severed ties with the U.S., although relations had been poor and deteriorating for decades. Venezuela has been an irritant to the United States, and in that sense, Russia in particular has backed the Maduro regime, in part because it's kind of a quid pro quo, a tit for a tat. The Russians see the U.S. and NATO in general as interfering in their backyard, and they feel it's only right that they should interfere in the U.S.'s backyard by promoting a government that's clearly hostile to the United States interests. Venezuela also happened to sit on a vast gold deposits and the largest oil deposit in the world. They have more oil than anybody else. Despite its wealth of natural resources, the country is rife with corruption. The United Nations estimates that 82% of Venezuelans live in poverty, 53% in extreme poverty. In the last decade, it is estimated that 8 million people have fled Venezuela because of the economic tragedy and disaster that is Nicolas Maduro's government and his predecessor, Hugo Chavez. There's no clear path to address the issues, and that's the problem for Donald Trump's policy of saber-rattling and gunboat diplomacy. The hope is to just get a transition on the cheap, but if this government is deeply embedded in illicit networks, as the U.S. claims, and it is, it would require a wholesale cleaning of house of military, national police, as well as institutions of government. Dissent and political opposition has also been crushed in the country, with the Maduro government and military at times using deadly force. But on the streets of Caracas, people publicly express their support for their government and oppose the U.S. military's posturing. We are here dancing, enjoying life. If they come, they will face consequences. That's from the local Carlos Colmenares. Carlos Colmenares told 730. They have deployed in the Caribbean Sea just to blow up speedboats, and they have not at all been able to prove that they are narco traffickers, nor that they are taking drugs to the United States. We, without firing any shot, are showing the world that we are beating the United States, Caracas resident said. But there are also many who whisper hopes for a new government. Last year's election in Venezuela was internationally condemned as rigged, and the opposition leader, Maria Machado, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, was banned from contesting. Maria Machado, awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in advocating for democratic rights in her country, but is now in hiding. Venezuelans clearly want change, and they demonstrated that in the election of July last year. It's fair to say that the opinion polls bear this out, that maybe 80% of Venezuelans want to see the back of the present government. That's not to say all of them, of course, want it to happen through military intervention. You could topple Maduro fairly easily, but the problem then becomes what to do after that. How do you make sure that the government that you've installed doesn't immediately fall? Because there are many people with guns in Venezuela, including parts of the armed forces, that would be hostile to the replacement of the government. Dr. Sabatini believes Mr. Trump doesn't want to lose, and that is why he's been careful to avoid saying this is about regime change. So what if we try a little regime change and it doesn't work? Trump would hate that too. He said it's only taking out narco-terrorists. That means if indeed this fails to produce a regime change that he secretly wants, he does have an escape hatch, and he can say, mission accomplished, we got the drug dealers. There you go. I think it's mostly hurt his pride. He does not like Maduro at all. But we also can't just be blowing motherfuckers up for no goddamn right. You'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that justifies the current attacks in Venezuela. I would think. So what Aaron Parnas has been saying. Here it is.
We have some stunning news right now. The Department of Defense just admitted it doesn't know who it killed in the Caribbean on these drug smuggling boats, these alleged drug smuggling boats that the Department of Defense is shooting at in the Southern Caribbean and in the Pacific Ocean. A stunning, stunning admission. So DOD has killed 57 people, United States military. Do they know who they killed? No. According to Representative Sarah Jacobs, they said, quote, the department officials said they don't need to positively identify individuals on these vessels to do the strikes. They just need.
So not only do they not know who they're killing, they believe they don't have to know who they're killing. They're drug dealers.
To prove a connection to smuggling. When we tried to get more information, we did not get satisfactory answers. The Department of Defense now cannot say who it is killing in the Caribbean.
I feel like we're like the Houthis or the goddamn Somali pirates. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Or in the Pacific is significant and raises more questions than answers of extrajudicial killings without any legal justification. And people need.
Listen. I would be so much more, thousands of times more likely to be on board with this if we just heard that they announced, hey, we know you're running drugs, turn around now or we'll blow you up. And then they don't turn around and then they blow them up. Like this just death from above with no warning, no stipulations, no positive identification, no investigation, no proof of anything is just fucking weird.
To know what's happening right now. Spread the word. As always, follow along for more. And if you want to support my work, make sure to subscribe to my Substack at the link in my bio. And we'll have much more news to come very soon. We have some stunning news right now. The Department of Defense.
Yeah, Trump sent the CIA after Maduro at the end of his first term. And basically, the CIA's like, we don't need to get involved in a full-blown war. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll hack his intelligence network. That's something that just kind of piss him off. But we're not trying to do regime change, right? We'll just We'll just fuck around with his networks or whatever. That was about it. It was more of a placating Trump than it was a legitimate attempt to like fuck up Venezuela.
We have some critical news right now. I've just received a letter sent by survivors of Epstein's horrific crimes to Speaker Mike Johnson demanding that Mike Johnson swear in Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grajova. The letter reads as follows. We, the survivors of the Jeffrey Epstein Ghislaine Maxwell abuse, call on Speaker of the House Mike Johnson to immediately move forward with the swearing in of Representative-elect Adelita Grajova. Grajova was duly elected and certified to serve in the U.S. House. Her constituents have spoken and their voice deserves representation without further delay. Speaker Johnson must stop using procedural tactics to protect the powerful and instead uphold the integrity of our democratic institutions. Our trauma is not a pawn in your political games. Every Every day you stalls, another day survivors are denied justice, and the American people...
I'm the captain now, bitch.
Representative Grijalva and let democracy speak, and then it's signed by several survivors. Spread the word so more people know. Here's the full letter. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. We have some critical news right now. I've just received a letter sent by...
I just wanted to see what he was covering lately.
Independent media. An independent media produced documentary about January 6th, and Adam Kinzinger, one of the Republican members of Congress who stood up to Donald Trump, is now #1 in the documentary charts on Apple TV, and it just shows how far media is really going in this space right now. So this documentary right here, The Last Republican, was produced by Midas Touch, which is not just a podcast. They now produce documentaries too. It's at the top, #1 documentary movies on Apple TV. Now you got to go check it out. I mean, it's a pretty stunning, pretty amazing documentary featuring Adam Kinzinger's journey as the last Republican, one of the last Republicans to oppose Donald Trump after January 6th. It's a harrowing story. I encourage you to go check it out, but it just shows the power of independent media in this moment when major media companies are faltering or caving to this administration. Independent media is now not only succeeding, but also producing documentaries in the process, and I'm proud to be on this team to help the Midas Touch brothers. So spread the word and follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon. We have some huge news about independent media. We have some pretty big news right now. Donald Trump's closest advisors were taken aback.
Top Trump advisors surprised and taken aback when Trump announced we would test nukes.
And surprised when Donald Trump announced that the United States would be all of a sudden testing nuclear weapons again, even though we hadn't tested nuclear weapons since 1992, the last test in Nevada. According to CNN reporting, Donald Trump's advisors in the White House started questioning how this was even possible. Because remember, Trump ordered the Department of Defense, or as he called it, the Department of War, to restart testing nuclear weapons. Only problem? Department of Defense doesn't handle nuclear weapons. The Department of Energy handles and tests nuclear weapons. And so a lot of Trump's advisors were like, well, how is this going to be done? Who's going to do it? Is the Department of Defense really going to do it? And well, many of them didn't even know that Trump was going to make this announcement when he did on Truth Social, randomly, just minutes before a meeting, a high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. It really just underscores the chaos of this administration and how decisions are made on the fly by the president without advisors really being consulted.
Like, there was a time that, like, testing nuclear weapons was like a deterrent. Like, it was saber rattling, right? That's not anymore. We all know that we have enough nuclear weapons to destroy our planet, right? For everybody. What is the point?
Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon. We have some pretty big news right now. Donald Trump's closest advisors were taken aback and surprised when Donald Trump announced the United States would be all of a sudden... We've got some breaking news right now. Minutes ago, Donald Trump just called for the end of the filibuster. That would be a significant move if Senate Republicans went through with it and removed the filibuster from Senate rules. The filibuster is essentially preventing the United States Senate Republicans from just getting a simple majority to pass any bills, to reopen the government, to do anything. Right now, you need 60 votes to do anything in the federal government except confirm nominees. The filibuster, if you did away with the filibuster, they would only need a simple majority in the Senate. That would allow Senate Republicans to pass some of their most extreme pieces.
I don't think, I know Trump is dumb, right? And he just says what he wants to say. I do not think it's in their best interest to end the filibuster, okay? Why? Because once the filibuster's gone and they lose power, then the other side can use that to their benefit, right? I don't mind the filibuster at all. It's good. It means you have to negotiate at some point.
Of legislation. Now, it's unclear whether or not they have the votes to get rid of the filibuster, but this is the first time publicly Donald Trump is now calling for the elimination of the filibuster. If they're successful in doing this, some of the craziest policies that you think of coming from Republicans in the House can now pass in the Senate pretty much. So spread the word. Major news this evening. Follow along for more. We've got some breaking news right now. Minutes ago, Donald Trump just called for the end of the filibuster. That would be a significant move.
Folks, we have some big news right now. I'm here with Senator Cory Booker, who just got off the Senate floor after breaking the record.
This is a pinned video. This one's kind of old.
In Senate history, just over 25 hours. Now, Senator, a couple quick rapid-fire questions before I get to the main one.
Yeah.
What, have you eaten?
I definitely had a banana. One of the strategies I had is just to fast into it. So the last food I had was Friday night, and I think that really helped. Burning ketones is a good thing.
This is another one of his late-night Truth Social posts. Trump argued that Democrats had sought to eliminate the Senate procedure when they had control of both chambers of Congress.
Detected an ICBM over
And the White House during the Biden administration, but then Senator Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema helped block the effort. Trump suggested using the nuclear option following his return to the U.S. after his trip to Asia. Sorry, I'm reading this from Fox News, so bear that in mind. The one question that kept coming up, however, was how did the Democrats shut down the United States of America, and why did the powerful Republicans allow them to do it? The fact is, in flying back, I thought a great deal about that question. Why? Trump wrote on Truth Social. Majority Leader John Thune and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson are doing a great job, but the Democrats are crazed lunatics that have lost all sense of wisdom and reality, he continued. It is sick. It is a sick form of the now legendary Trump derangement syndrome that only comes from losing too much. They want trillions of dollars to be taken from our healthcare system and given to others who are not deserving, people who have come into our country illegally, which is that whole thing's a lie. Everybody should know that by now. If you don't know that by now, that this isn't about health, Medicare for illegals, then you don't want to know it. Many from prisons and mental institutions. This will hurt American citizens, and Republicans will not let it happen. Trump added that it is now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster, and get rid of it now in all capital letters. I don't know. It's rough. It's rough. And then the Republicans, the way this should work,
and then I just dehydrated.
The way this is supposed to work is like the Republicans need 60 votes. They've got 50 something or whatever, right? So they're supposed to show up to work and be like, okay, we need 7 more votes. Let me talk to 7 people who would be willing to vote with us if they got something in return. Okay, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Okay, there's our 7 votes. Instead, Republicans are like, oh, we need 7 votes? We'll just go home until you change your fucking mind. And by the way, we're starving people. It just doesn't make sense to me. What does Team Mariah have to do with us? Literally starving people. This is just insane. You want to see some more insane stuff? Oh, what about the Trump administration bragging about all their arrest of Sinaloa cartel members? You guys have seen that, right? They've been getting all these top cartel guys and arresting them, right? That's what's been going on.
Probably a little dangerous because
The Sinaloa cartel is one of the world's most violent drug organizations. The DEA said that they just took down hundreds of its high-ranking members in raids across New England.
These are high-level arrests, not low-level retail distribution.
The only problem? The Globe Spotlight team found that just isn't true. In President Trump's second term, he vowed to crack down on Latin America.
It's not true.
This is a national.
We're not taking down the leaders of the cartel by arresting homeless people and drug addicts.
Security problem.
And in late August, that mission landed with a bang in the small city of Franklin, New Hampshire.
This is where there was.
You're telling me the top mover and shakers in the Sinaloa drug cartel are not hanging out in a tiny town in New Hampshire?
RV parked in this driveway.
Where the fuck are they then?
Bang in the small city of Franklin, New Hampshire.
They're not in Franklin, New Hampshire?
This is where there was an RV parked in this driveway. In order to arrest the folks, they threw a flash grenade into that RV, which rattled all these surrounding houses.
Federal authorities claim they'd arrested 171 members of the Sinaloa cartel in New England and hundreds more across the U.S. More than 24 were in Franklin. But after sifting through 1,600 pages...
Wait a second. Let's go back and look at those arrests. Hold on.
More across the U.S. More than 24.
What do you see in those pictures down there? They're just arresting fucking small-time dealers and addicts. A lot of times they're both, right? A lot of times they sell enough to where they get theirs for cheap or for free. And homeless people. And trying to say that they're the leaders of the Senate. But when these people go to court, you know what they're not charged with? It's all for good press. 100% it's for the press or the followers, even if the press doesn't believe it. It's so Trump can say it to the maggots. Because when these people go to court, they're charged with shit like simple possession. If they're leaders of the Sinaloa drug cartel and all we can get them for is possession,
were in Franklin. But after sifting through 1,600 pages of court records, talking to more than 75 state, local, and federal law enforcement agencies, and knocking on dozens of doors, the Globe Spotlight team found the DEA had misrepresented the people it arrested.
Oh, that's that clip. Hold on. That's funny.
So bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals. They have been so bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals to justice. One of the individuals we arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa. And as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her.
She's talking about Michael and Jennifer Antifa, the founders.
Was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa, and that we are hoping that as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society.
It's wild.
The so-called cartel members were mostly low-level drug dealers, drug users, shoplifters, and people at a homeless encampment.
This is the entrance.
They literally raided a homeless encampment and arrested basically everybody there.
Entrance to the homeless encampment will keep their privacy.
5 cartel experts told the Globe that the cartels don't typically dispatch high-ranking operatives to places as far as New Hampshire.
No. They don't have their number 3 and 4 guy in Franklin, New Hampshire. Surely not. And don't call me Shirley.
Law enforcement leaders we spoke to, including the police chief in Lawrence, which the DEA described as a hub of Sinaloa activity, were baffled by the government's claims. 3 officials familiar with
the police chiefs in these towns are like, what? They're claiming they got high-level fucking cartel members here when they raided that homeless camp?
Operation told us that the government had misrepresented the stature of those arrested in the sweep. We interviewed multiple suspects at their arraignments in Franklin last week. Judges and prosecutors never mentioned the words Sinaloa or cartel. Almost everyone we talked to said that they struggle with drug addiction.
I've never had anything to do with the cartel.
DEA last week said they were unable to comment on the Globe's findings because of the government shutdown. But then they flagged 8 federal investigations they said were part of the Sinaloa crackdown. But Globe reporters did not find evidence of high-level cartel membership in any of those cases either. Imagine that.
Cartel is.
Imagine it's also the maggots can say, well, he's getting peace and he's getting the drug dealers and he's going after the cartel and he's doing this. When in reality, it's more like this. Have y'all seen this? This is wild. All right, so we start off with this tubby cop in Baltimore. Okay? This tubby cop hanging out in Baltimore, right? Couple black guys standing. It looks like he says something like, you're going to have to come to me or come over to me or something like that.
Yeah, what's your reason to stop me? You ain't
And the guy says, you don't have no reason to stop us. And he calls on his radio.
no reason to stopping him, bro. Hey, yo, walk off, Trey. I'm hit the alley, yo. Go ahead, Trey, walk off, yo. He beating. He ain't even got no reason to stop him.
All right, so that you saw that guy walk down the street, and he says, go on, Trey. He ain't got no reason to stop you. He's geeking. Okay. Oh, what?
The car?
What the fuck?
Yo, hell no, yo. Hey, yo. Come back this
Now
way.
look, around a light pole. Around a fucking light pole on the sidewalk. Down the street trying to run this motherfucker over. I don't care if the guy's got fucking 5 warrants for murder. Like, what are we doing, dude? The guy goes behind a building. And then the cop comes back. He's not done. Wait. Down this alley, almost hits this guy. Down an alley. Listen. Crashes into a fucking building.
You crashing it all that. You really crashing out, bro.
Gets out of the car, and the guy's still gone.
Really crashing out.
There he is. There he is just standing there. The guy's gone. He crashed into a fucking building trying to kill this guy with his car.
Bro, you crashed his car and all that, bro. Don't really try to hit my mans, bro. Don't really try to hit, bro, with the car and all that. Yeah, what?
This is insane, right?
What's your reason to stop?
I know it's not up to like insane levels like what ICE is doing, but this isn't ICE. It's supposed to be like a normal cop.
You ain't even got no reason to stopping him, bro. Hey, yo, walk off, Trey. I'm hit the alley, yo. Go ahead, Trey, walk off, yo. He beating. He ain't even got no reason to stop him.
They thought he was just going to leave or follow him maybe.
Hey, yo, what the?
He's 1,000% trying to hit him.
What the, bro? Yo, hell no, yo. Hey, yo. Come back this way, yo.
Around a light pole.
Yo, beating, bro.
Imagine what you have to do as a police officer for me to think to myself, you know, it would have been better if he'd have just pulled out his gun and shot him. At least the cop could have been like, oh, I thought he had a weapon. I thought he had his hands in his pocket. I thought he had a gun. I thought I saw a gun. I thought it was my taser. What are you going to say for this? What do you say to this?
Austin.
Crashes into somebody's fucking apartment.
You really crashing out, bro.
Chasing a donut.
Really crashing out, bro. You crashed his car and all that, bro.
Through a fence and into somebody's apartment, by the way.
Trying to hit my mans, bro.
I get it. The guy probably's got a warrant, and that's why the cop's like, you need to come talk to me over here, blah, blah. He's probably going to cuff him. But goddamn, dude. And then I guess there's an update to it. Let's see. Sir, you can't park there.
Update to this situation in Baltimore.
Yeah, what's your reason to stop me? You ain't even got no reason to stop.
He said, I think he says, I'm going to make a call and they're going to come get you. So I'm assuming, again, a warrant.
Bro. Hey, yo, walk off, Trey. You hit the alley.
Wait. Did he just say, I've got one running, don't they all? Is that what he said?
Stopping him, bro. Hey, yo, walk walk off. How did you hit the alley?
It sounded like he radioed in and said, such and such, I got one running. Then when he's not on the radio, he said, don't they all?
Yo, go ahead, Trey. Walk off, yo. He beating. He ain't even got no reason to stop him. Hey, yo, what the f? You gonna hit him with the car? Yo, what the f, bro? Yo, hell no, yo. Hey, yo. Come back this way, yo.
As you can tell, the officer attempted to murder that man by running him over with his squad car. The Baltimore Police Department has released a statement saying that they are reviewing the body cam footage and that they are disturbed by what they saw. Here's my frustration with that, and that's great. I'm glad y'all are disturbed. I'm glad y'all are reviewing things. If anybody, a regular citizen, did that and you had the video footage that you had, they would be arrested for attempted vehicular manslaughter right now, today. No questions asked. Why is your officer being treated differently? Why is he not in jail? I don't care the circumstances. That man was not a threat. There was no need to do that. Doesn't matter what he was being questioned for. That man was not a threat. And he should be, your officer should be in jail. There's a small update to this situation in Baltimore.
So apparently they're investigating it. I don't know. Fucking insane, dude. Oh, I wanted to grab this.
This is truly difficult to watch. Take a look. That's ICE agents taking down a woman in front of her child. And it is hard to listen to, hard to watch. I'm told now these are unconfirmed reports from what I have found. By the time this video is out, it may change, but she presented an ID of some sort. She presented a documentation of some sort. It doesn't matter. This is not about immigration policy. This is about that was unnecessary. And we're having zero discernment when it comes to these situations. And we're traumatizing children for life. And we're creating enemies of the state. And it's our own fault because we can't handle these situations properly. And I'm starting to get real frustrated because this, like I said, this is not a debate about immigration policy. Forget that. Put that out of your mind for a second. It's about how backwards this country is, because this man right here is walking the streets. He ran over a woman. He backed up, he ran her over, and he backed up again, and he did it twice. He attempted to murder a woman and didn't spend any time in jail for it. And he claims to be a pastor. And now his wife is dead, and it doesn't matter how she died, she's dead because of him. And he's still preaching. He's still preaching, taking money from old people because they don't understand how the internet works. They don't understand how the truth, to find the truth, because they keep listening to this pastor who stood at a pulpit and said demons are coming out of him.
I have unforgiveness, hatred, demons coming out of me.
And so we got two men taking down this woman in front of her children while we have legit evil stealing millions of dollars. Claiming to be a demon. He claimed to be a demon, and he's literally stealing money, and he's walking the streets of South Carolina. This country is backwards. His father, convicted of labor fraud. His father caught with his pants down in a state park claiming to be a pastor. Nobody's asking why he's adopting adult children. Nobody's asking why he's bringing innocent people from Pakistan. Nobody's asking. There's medical reports that this man drugged his wife. And this is how we're treating mothers in front of their children. Meanwhile, that man gets to walk around free. His name is John Paul Miller. I know some of you are new to my platform. Go look him up. But I'm over it. This is truly difficult to watch. Take a look.
Mama!
I can't watch that again. Let's say it must be one more update. Hold on.
Okay, I was just sent this video, and this is extremely disturbing. Sorry I'm in my car, but this has got to get out. Baltimore police...
Wait, this one might not be as new as the most recent one. Yeah, this is before the statement. Never mind.
Hey, you dumb as... You dumb as... You crashing and all that. You really crashing out, bro. Go ahead, dumbass. Really crashing out, bro. You crashed his car and all that, bro. Don't really try to hit my mans, bro. Don't really try to hit, bro, with the car and all that. Oh, hell no.
Now, a report just came out that that officer has since been suspended upon an investigation. But I got to be honest, if anybody, myself, anybody else, a civilian did what he did, they would be arrested for attempted murder. Plain and simple. Okay, I was just sent this video, and this is extremely disturbing. Sorry I'm in my car, but this has got to get out. A Baltimore police officer attempts to murder this man by running him over with this cruiser. Take a look.
No reason to stop me. Hey, yo, what the You gonna hit him with the car? Yo, what the bro?
Jesus Christ. The fucking country's insane, dude. Then on top of that, check this out. This guy got basically fired for recording ICE. They said that he left his post and argued with ICE, but the company came to him and said, delete that video. They told everybody that worked there, delete the videos of ICE. He said no. The next day, he was let go because he left his post and argued with ICE agents. Check this video out. Everybody else promised to delete the video. Not fired.
Recording ICE. A man in Illinois was fired from his job for recording ICE agents smashing the windows out of a guy's car and arresting him in a Menards parking lot. What's worse is that Menards told all of their other employees to delete any videos they have of the incident or they'll lose their jobs too. Take a look at this video real quick because it's obvious they desperately want it to be hidden from the public. As you can tell, they hauled him away in an unmarked vehicle as they always do. The security guard who filmed all of this happening refused to delete his footage even after he was asked to by his employer. After he did this, they fired him the same day. The termination letter states that he left his post without approval and argued with ICE agents. The video shows ICE's violence, yet he's the one being punished for doing his job, standing up for an innocent human being, and documenting it. This is exactly the type of abuse of power that everybody has been warning about. A federal agent commits a violent act in broad daylight, and instead of transparency, the person who tried to expose what happened gets punished. The message they're sending us is very clear. Don't film, don't speak up, and don't interfere, even if you see a human rights violation. A man in Illinois was fired from his job for recording ICE agents smashing the windows out of...
Pretty crazy, no? I wonder if anybody's done any videos on the MCU yet. The refund. It's hard to search MCU. I think that's why they picked the name, because it brings up everything else. How old is this?
Any of you that are believing, Buddy and Doc, that the middle class united is not in good standing, let's just make this really fun.
Oh, God, this didn't age well. This didn't age well, did it?
See, now, any of you can do this. You can just go to maryland.gov, and under the business name, you're going to put Middle Class United. Then you're going to click the search button. It's going to pop up with the cooperative, right? And then it's going to give you all of our information. It's going to tell you where it is. It's going to tell you the agent. It's going to tell you the status. Oh, what's that? Oh, look, the business is in good standing. Like, seriously, people, what you're hearing from these people is that the business is doing something very scary. But there's no evidence provided of anything.
Here's the document. There's the Joe Redden one, right? We're cutting ties with Joe Redden. That was on June 28th. And then here's this one from October 24th. We're shutting down, dissolving.
It's just them saying it and people on the internet believing it. But you know who's not believing it? People who are actually members of the MCU. Yeah, they don't believe it because those people.
So basically, they gave $500 to the MCU. They did nothing with the money but pay themselves, pay the lawyers, and charge a management fee, and they're going to be returned $200 or $300 probably.
Are smart enough to look shit up. Those people are smart enough to.
And they let these people hold it for a year and a half.
Simple fucking search, which again, any of you can do. Just go to maryland.gov and look up the fucking business. Our name is Middle Class United, and you can see that according to the state of Maryland, we are in good standing. So next time you hear one of them say we're not, teach them how to Google. So for any of you that are believing, Buddy and Doc, that the Middle Class United is not in good standing, let's just make this really fucking easy. Now, any of you can do this. You can just go to maryland.gov, and under the business name, you're going to put Middle Class United, and you're going to click the search button. It's going to pop up with the cooperative. Right, and then it's going to give you all of our information. It's going to tell you where it is. It's going to tell you the agent. It's going to tell you the status. Oh, what's that? Oh, look, the business is in good standing.
Oh, I wonder if he's done an update. That's what I want to see. We got to watch some of them.
See, this.
Oh, the irony. You literally voted for a convicted felon.
Cracking me the fuck up. So I made a video about Kat Abu Gonzalez, a Democrat running for office in Illinois, who was just indicted on multiple federal charges because she committed multiple federal felonies on camera. And people keep saying, oh my, the irony, you literally voted for a convicted felon. Yeah, she can run for office, even if she's convicted. She can run.
Oh, yeah. Is he talking about the politician? She's been charged? The one that, you know, the video of the young girl that's running for Congress or whatever, that the ice kind of threw on her ass? Her and like 5 other people have been charged.
Who can vote for her? I don't care. You can run for office. You can win. You can be elected being a felon. My video wasn't about stopping her from running for office. My video wasn't about how dare you vote for her. My video wasn't about how dare you elect her. No, my video was she committed the crime on camera, so it's not debatable. There's no argument. She very obviously did every single thing they're charging her with, so she should be prosecuted and punished. That's literally all I'm saying. It has nothing to do with her election. She can run, she can get voted for, she can get elected, she can be in office. All I'm saying is that when you commit the crime, you should get prosecuted. That was it. So try a new line next time, liberals. Because you can still run for office as a felon. You can still get elected as a felon. You can still take office as a felon. All I'm saying is, she should be a fucking felon. See, this is the... You know, I used to feel bad for the people in the UK, but then I saw...
What do you want, bet he didn't address it?
This video?
We're trying.
I decided that you people deserve every bad thing.
Yeah, her name is Kat something. I can't say her last name either. I guess he just said it in this video. Hold
See,
on.
this is the response from liberals that is just cracking me the fuck up. So I made a video about Kat Abu Gonzalez, a Democrat running for office in Illinois, who was just indicted on multiple federal charges because she committed multiple federal felonies on camera. And people keep saying, oh my, the irony, you literally voted for a convicted felon. Yeah, she can run for office, even if she's convicted.
Said it.
The fuck up. So I made a video about Kat Abu Gonzalez, a Democrat running for office.
Abu Gonzalez? Anyways.
You know, I used to feel bad for the people in the UK, but then I saw this video, and I've decided that you people deserve every bad thing that happens to your country.
Do you not feel a bit uncomfortable that £500 has found its way into the back pocket of a paedophile? No,
this guy was just confused. He's from a different country. He didn't know the norms.
Hang on. He committed a sexual offence against a 14-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, he was confused. He's from a different continent.
That's one of your citizens from the United Kingdom defending a pedophile, saying that he was just confused.
It sounded like somebody was trolling. He's confused. He's from a different continent.
And that's why he raped a 14-year-old girl in her...
Yeah, the video of her being slammed is what I'd be pissed about. Apparently, they waited a while, but they charged her and 5 others all together. Let's see if we can look it up. Hold on. I saw a video about it, and I was going to... There it is. Abu Ghazala, indicted for allegedly conspiring to injure officers. A federal grand jury has indicted Illinois Progressive House candidate Kat Abu Ghazala for allegedly assaulting and conspiring to injure law enforcement during a protest last month at Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility near Chicago. She and 5 others were charged with felony offenses for their alleged involvement in a skirmish with law enforcement that later went viral on social media outside the facility, Broadview, Illinois. Abu Ghazala, 26, posted a video on social media Wednesday responding to the indictment in which she proclaimed her innocence.
Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois, and the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges, but I need your help to do it. As I and others have exercised our First Amendment rights, ICE has hit, dragged, thrown, shot with pepper balls, and tear gassed hundreds of protesters, simply because we had the gall to say that masked men coming into our communities, abducting our neighbors, and terrorizing us cannot be our new normal. And because Chicago doesn't back down from bullies in masks who tear gas our neighborhoods, this administration has resorted to weaponizing the federal justice system to scare us into silence. But we're not going to be silent. The Trump administration wants you to be afraid of speaking out against it and its anti-democratic power grabs. And there are plenty of reasons to be afraid right now, but we have to overcome that fear. This case targets our rights to protest, speak freely, and associate with anyone who disagrees with the government. And while we have seen the unhinged and unlawful tactics this administration has used against the American public, it's important to remember they're doing this because they are scared. They are wrong. And they know they are on the wrong side of history. We cannot diminish ourselves in the face of these attacks. That's why we have to unite and stand up for humanity, our rights, and everyone terrorized by Trump's lawless secret police. You'll be hearing regular updates directly from me about this case and how we can use our constitutional rights to resist authoritarianism. And as scary as all of this is, I have spent my career fighting America's backslide into fascism. I'm not going to stop now, and I hope you won't either.
Let's see if we can actually find the video. We got to keep that open because we're looking to see if he responded, but. I don't know what supposedly the conspiring to, this is where she gets thrown.
DOJ just indicted 6 activists in Chicago, and they could face several years in prison or more if convicted. This woman being thrown to the ground is Kat Abugazaleh, one of the activists charged. She's a former reporter.
Now they're allowed to be on that sidewalk. Like the point from where he grabbed her at, they're allowed to be.
Several years in prison or more if convicted. This woman being thrown to the ground is Kat Abugazaleh, one of the activists charged. She's a former reporter. You may already know who she is, and you might already know.
Again, almost anybody can get a, something from a grand jury where there's literally no defense, right?
Know that she's running for Congress. But this isn't the incident the government is worried about, or this one, where she and other activists are picked up by federal agents and then thrown to the ground. It's this incident, when, according to Abugazaleh's tweet, an ICE agent tried to, quote, run dozens of protesters over with an SUV as they walked on a public crosswalk. She adds that he continued to drive for about a full football field before ICE agents the ground. It's this incident, when, according to Congress. But this isn't the incident the government is worried about, or this one, where she and other activists are picked up by federal agents and then thrown to the ground. It's this incident, when, according to Abugazaleh's tweet, an ICE agent tried to, quote, run dozens of protesters over with an SUV as they walked on a public crosswalk. She adds that he continued to drive for about a full football field before ICE agents barraged them with pepper balls. However, the DOJ...
So that's the incident where they conspired to hurt him? Are you fucking shitting me?
It claims that Abugazaleh and other activists used force, intimidation, and threat to prevent an ICE officer, an unnamed one, from discharging their duties. They also allege that these activists sought to injure him or his property.
How can they prove that?
And they say that because activists allegedly, quote, banged aggressively on this car. They also claim the vehicle was scratched, including the etching of the word pig and the disruption.
I'll believe that when they show me a video of someone fucking keying the car.
Forced the agent.
How do we know that he just didn't pull around the corner and key the car?
drive at an extremely slow rate of speed. But now, if they're convicted, they could each face up to 6 years in prison for the conspiracy charge and up to 8 years in prison for the intimidation charge. In a statement, Abu Ghazaleh said, "As I and others exercised our First Amendment rights, ICE has hit, thrown, dragged, shot with pepper balls, and tear gassed hundreds of protesters, myself included, simply because we had the gall to say masked men abducting our neighbors and terrorizing our community cannot be the new normal." She plans to fight these charges in court, and The Intercept is going to follow the case as it progresses, so hit follow for more. Trump's DOJ just indicted 6 activists in Chicago, and they could face several years in prison or more if convicted. This woman being thrown to the ground is Kat Abu Ghazaleh.
That's insane, right? We all agree? That's pretty fucking insane. All right, let's see if he responded to this or not.
My name is Kat Abu Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois.
And you committed multiple federal felonies on camera. Why are you trying to play like you're the victim here? You are just getting prosecuted for the crimes you committed, and the evidence against you is airtight because you recorded yourself doing the fucking crimes. You don't get a free...
It's a show of these fucking wannabe dictators in charge. I'm going to show you a video in a second. They like to arrest people and then just let them go with nothing, right? They like to charge people knowing they're not going to win. But it has a chilling effect. Other people don't want to, have to miss work, have to go to court, have to be arrested, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show you a video in a minute of Israel doing that to Palestinian activists.
Pass because you're tiny. You don't get a free pass because you're a woman. You don't get a free pass because you don't agree with what ICE is doing. You don't get a free pass because you're running for office. You committed multiple federal felonies. And not only did you commit each of those crimes, but you fucking did it on camera. This is not a complicated situation. This is not political persecution. They are not coming after you because you're a liberal. They're not coming after you because you oppose ICE. They're coming after you and charging you with a crime because you committed multiple felonies on camera. We have to stop pretending that anything else is needed to prosecute people who commit federal felonies on camera.
My name is Kat Abu Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois.
So not only did we just discover that Candace Owens lied to her fucking teeth about her employment history to get a job at Turning Point, but it seems like we also discovered the real reason she doesn't like Israel anymore. So first, let's talk about her lying about her work history. So she claims that she worked at a company as administrative assistant and in 3 years worked her way up to be a high-level executive. Yeah, that didn't happen. Because before Turning Point USA, she worked at a company called Semper. And instead of working there for 3 years, no, she worked there for 5 months. And then after that, she went to Turning Point. Now, I know some people that love Candace Owens are going to say, oh, it was a job she had before. Okay, so what you're telling me is that she used to be a high-level executive, and then she took a job at Semper as an administrative assistant because that's what they had her listed as, and they actually have pictures of her as an administrative assistant working there. But yeah, her work history is bullshit. Now, as to the real reason why she no longer supports Israel. So this is one of her lives from about 8 months ago. Do you notice who her sponsors are? Oh, look, Oracle. Now, where you can go to oracle.com/Candace. If you were unaware, Oracle is owned by Larry Ellison, the same guy that Candace Owens has been railing against for about the last 2 months. You know, the one she's so upset about, doesn't deserve to have control of social media, gotta be stopped. Yeah, just 6 months ago, they were paying her. And also American financing, but we'll stick to Oracle right now. So let me get this straight. Just 6 months ago, you could go to oracle.com/Candace. By the way, that link is still valid. And then magically, when they stopped paying her, when they stopped sponsoring her show, you know, when the horrible Jewish Larry Ellison said no more money, suddenly everything was about Israel. Everything was Israel's fault. And the main focus of all her content was to stop the Jews. Yeah, she doesn't care about Charlie or America First. No, she just has a vendetta because they stopped paying her. So not only did we just discover that Candace Owens lied to her fucking teeth about her employment history to get a job at Turning Point, but it seems like we also discovered the real reason she doesn't like Israel.
Somewhere in America, there is a Hispanic Anne Frank hiding.
All right, so let's address this stupid fucking comparison. So when we're talking about Anne Frank and illegal immigrants in the U.S., there's really only one similarity, and that is that both of them are technically violating the law. Okay, that's the only similarity, because the laws that our illegal immigrants are breaking are about a century old. Like, they're 96 years old. The laws that Anne Frank was breaking were like a fucking month old. Also, as a difference, our laws are about stopping people who aren't citizens and came into the country illegally from being here. The laws regarding Anne Frank were about stopping citizens who had lived in that country for generations legally and then were being persecuted. Also, I think the most important difference, the punishment for being caught as an illegal immigrant in the United States, is that you are sent to the country where you're a citizen. The punishment for
breathalyzers sold separately.
At best, she was sent to a work camp. At worst, she was shot in the fucking face. So yeah, that's a stupid fucking comparison. I will accept no slander of the Tampa Bay International Airport.
It's Scottsburg Tampa Airport, and this is the weirdest airport I've ever been to. It's nice, but you have to take a ton of trains, a ton of escalators.
Right off the bat, that's bullshit, because at most in the Tampa airport, you have to take one tram. Like, this is my home airport, and let me just let you know that the layout is fucking brilliant, because everybody comes into this main terminal. There's no lines, there's no crowds, it's wide the fuck open. And then, depending on which gate you're going to, whether you're going to C, E, F, A, I don't know why they skipped over B and D, but that doesn't matter. But all you do is you scan your ticket here, and then you take a tram out to your terminal. Now, the reason why this is so fucking brilliant, like say you're going to Terminal F, you only go through security with people who are going to Terminal F, which means no lines. And if you do have a line, it's like a fucking minute long. And let me just tell you, like, I use Clear. Tampa doesn't even have Clear, because the company, I legitimately don't think I will ever understand female logic.
So we're supposed to give men a break if they're poor or they're not doing well yet, because they could one day, but you guys won't do the same if it's a woman that's not attractive.
In the general sense, yeah, because there's a chance that he could be successful. But if you're unattractive, there's zero chance that you're going to get better looking. Like, how the fuck did you compare those two things?
This literally happens all the time. What are you talking about? Women becoming more attractive is much more likely than a man becoming super successful.
Like, look, I'm not saying give broke men a break. I'm not saying date a guy that has no ambition, date a guy that's not working to be successful. But that's a really stupid comparison. Because like I said, like, even if he's not successful, if he's driven, he can be successful over time. Like, that's a possibility in his future. But if you're unattractive, there is zero fucking chance that you're going to get better looking. Like, looks do not.
Gosh, hear me out. What if we took landlords out of the equation and the government helped people own homes?
Yeah, they tried that in the early 2000s, and it led to the housing market crash. And look, before you people lose your fucking mind.
That's not at all true.
I'm not saying that.
So she said, well, if we took landlords out of the equation and the government came in and helped people buy homes. Well, that was a housing market collapse. No, it wasn't.
Only factor that caused the housing market to crash, but it was a contributing factor. Like, here's what you guys need to understand. There is nothing that gets better, more affordable, or more efficient when the government gets involved. Like, that's just never been an aspect of government. Government involvement makes everything harder, more complicated, and significantly more expensive. There is nothing that the government has ever gotten involved in that became better because they got involved. That's because the government doesn't operate on business principles. They have no sense of better business practices because they don't have to, right? Unlike a real business, the government doesn't care about the money. And I don't mean from a profit standpoint. I mean, they don't care how much debt they go into because they're spending your money. So they don't give a shit. So they have no, like, there's no driving factor to make them efficient. There's no benefit to them to be more efficient. There's no benefit to them to do anything better.
That's not true at all. The government's goal should be to help as many people, right?
Here, they're spending mine and your money. And sweetheart, all right, look, here's my take about people possibly losing their SNAP benefits temporarily because of the...
He's going to talk about food stamps and everything, but he's not going to talk about his own fucking cooperative that he launched that he claims he's still part of, even though they don't claim him going under. Are you fucking shitting me?
So first of all, I'm not going to be one of those people that cheers people not having access to SNAP. Like, I think that's just really cold-hearted and it's fucked up. Because there are a lot of people that are on SNAP benefits that don't have the ability to work, right? Like the mentally handicapped, the physically disabled. There are plenty of people like that in our society who we, as one of the best societies in the world, we should take care of. Like, that should be our responsibility as a society, is to take care of the most vulnerable. That being said, not everybody on SNAP needs to be on it. Like, I think we can all acknowledge that too, right? Like, nobody's going to argue that everybody that's on SNAP should be on it. Now, that's not an argument for taking SNAP away. That's an argument for creating a better system, creating a more stringent process to be able to have access to those benefits. Because here's the thing, the government...
I don't know how people are cheap. Dude, it's already so crazy. Like, I don't think this is a secret, but after the flood, basically everybody that was affected got it. So me and Mariah got SNAP benefits for like a few months after the flood, mostly because everybody here locally lost everything in your fridge. So they at least did that month minimum, right? You could get like the stuff that you lost in your fridge, but they want they want in your bank account. They want all your fucking pay stuff. They want everything. And then like when something changes, somehow they get notified and immediately send a thing saying, hey, we noticed that you got paid from somebody different. Like, it seems so stringent already. There's no way I could keep up with all that shit. Like, I think we got it for like 2 months, and there's no way I'm going to start jumping through hoops to try. We don't qualify, first of all. But second of all, like, it seemed like a lot of hoops to jump through. Like, I could understand if we really needed it. I'd be like, God damn, I got to jump through all these hoops. But there was no way I was fixing to play that game. It's already crazy.
Spends fuckloads of money.
Yeah, there's somebody else saying it's so hard to get approved for SNAP. And all the comments on my videos about it, people are talking about how they had to do this, and if they got child support, and if they got an annuity, and somebody else had this, and they changed jobs, and every time it's just paperwork on top of paperwork on top of paperwork.
like. And at the end of the day, that's our money. And if I were going to evaluate, okay, what level of pissed off am I going to get about my money being spent on stuff? I can tell you the SNAP benefits is way the fuck down here, because there are people who need that. People who we should, again, as one of the best societies in the history of the world, we should be able to take care of. But if you are going to come on TikTok or come on social media and complain about the fact that you no longer have access to free shit, I'm not going to feel bad for you. Like, sure, it sucks that you don't have access to that right now, or that you possibly might lose access in what, like 3 days? But when you're living on someone else's dime and them completely taking care of you has to pause for a second, yeah, I'm going to need you to exercise your ability to shut the fuck up. And also, by the way, if you're one of those content creators who's huge on here, really popular, and making shitloads of money, yeah, do me a favor.
You do not want a detailed...
He's not going to address it, is he?
They're not meant for cosmetics. Do not let the general home inspector inspect your roof.
Anybody with a realtor that says some shit like this needs to get a new realtor. If your realtor has said anything that sounded anything...
You do not want a detailed home inspector. Home inspections are not meant for cosmetics. Do not let the general home inspector inspect your...
That's insane.
With a realtor that says like
the one time I'm going to agree with him, I
realtor
guess.
Has said anything that sounded anything like that, get a new one. Because that might be one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. And that's not hyperbole. That seriously might be one of the dumbest things I've ever fucking heard. Like, imagine being a realtor and having the responsibility of finding somebody a forever home. Finding somebody a good home. Finding somebody a... Do you know how many major countries in the world don't require you to verify your identity to be able to vote in their elections? One. There's only one major country in the entire world that doesn't require you to verify your identity to participate.
That's not true, by the way. He's going to say the U.S., but we already verify. You verify when you register, right? Has anybody ever just walked in and said, I'm so-and-so, and I'm here to register? No, of course not. Maybe if I type it in as Middle Class United instead of MCU. This guy was basically investing alongside it.
Over a year ago, I was watching the Older Millennials TikTok live, and he was launching the MCU.
I don't know if he's done an update about it.
So if this whole thing ends with them not being able to come up with the $3 million and some change dollars, whatever they owe everybody, so they can make everybody whole, everybody gets their $500 back, and they just catch charges and go to jail, that's a little disappointing to me, because I was expecting, like, this grift it barely reaches the level of, like, antics, and I need something more like heist or caper. Like, I need something more with the ride that he's kind of taking everybody on. And I think I was honestly expecting to hear that since the MCU was going to primarily invest in real estate and low-income housing or fixing for the middle class, the housing situation, I was expecting him to get the MCU to do some Trump-level laundering where they would buy his shitty trailer in Florida that he has up for sale, and if it's worth whatever $120,000, they would buy it from him for like $400,000, and then he would skip out, go to Europe and
hold on, and over $3 million. Where's the MCU website? $3,291,500 from 6,583 members. If you take 6,583 and multiply by 500, which is the only amount you could put in, you get $3,291,500.
That money's gone, right? And then he vanishes. But that's not what's happening. So it's a little disappointing, because I was expecting more caper level, heist level grift, and instead this is just kind of like knocking over a liquor store.
And they did that. Nobody's invested recently. Very few people invested recently. They probably did that in a matter of a month.
And then getting caught and go to jail and getting tased and pissing yourself.
And Older Millennial was the oldest. The biggest creator. There were some smaller ones too that advertised that, maybe 2 or 3 more.
So a little disappointed. I was expecting more. I was expecting more dramatics. But hey, you know what? If they put out a warrant for him when it does come time to pay this piper, maybe he'll get tased again. So if this whole thing ends with them not being able to come up with the $3 million.
So this is going to be the first of many informational videos about Middle Class United, formerly known as the Middle Class Hedge Fund.
This is also from 2 days ago.
I can see how the $500 that I would have invested in the MCU if I was an idiot is doing in the stock market. I invested $500 in the S&P 500 in May of 2024 when the MCU launched. And today that $500 is worth $653. So this says it's a 29% increase, but because of the dividends that I've reinvested, my money has actually gone up by 30%. Now let's see how the MCU is doing. Oh, what's this? Important member notice. MCU seek to begin voluntary dissolution. The Maryland Division, blah, 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 membership structure and communication concluded that the $500 membership falls within the scope of Maryland's security laws. It looks like Bunny and Doc were right that $500 membership fee did fall within securities laws, and it was not a co-op. So They are going to completely dissolve the MCU. Oh, well, good news. Refunds. They are going to refund everybody's money. It is going to be prorated from the net funds available at the close of dissolution after required legal, accounting, banking, processing, and winding down costs. Well, how much can you expect to get back? Well, if you imagine $500 times however many members they had, minus a full year of paying, 5 or 6 board members, all the trips they took, all those expenses, all the research that they did, attorney's fees, wind down fees, accounting fees, not filing fees because they didn't file shit. I'm sure that you'll end up each getting back maybe like $300, $250. I think there was like 7,000 people that sent in their $500 to be members of this co-op, and I'm confident that a considerable percentage were not and are not doing well financially. And I'm sure a good amount of those people are on SNAP benefits. So what's crazy is some of these people can clearly see with their own 2 eyes that Donald Trump is refusing to fund SNAP benefits past November 1st using emergency funds while still continuing construction on his ballroom. They know that the older millennial MAGA Republican sold them on an investment dream that was complete bullshit and encouraged them to part ways with their $500 that they could surely use right now for food. And when their fridges and pantries are empty next week, they're going to continue to blame Democrats. You guys, this is what a cult is.
So this is going to be the first of many informational videos about middle class.
Damn it. Damn it. All right, let me show you this Israel video, then we'll wrap it up, guys. This one caught my attention. And you have to listen to what he says. He's the only one with an Israeli passport, so this guy recording was the only one allowed to record in Palestine when they were pulled over by Israeli force. It was so weird. Check this out. And it's a bunch of reporters and 2 Palestinian activists, not terrorists, not Hamas members, not activists. They just speak out for not fucking genociding Palestine.
Nice photo? It's a video. Okay. You're welcome. Want me to send you? Huh? Do you want me to send you? Yeah. Give me a number. We were in the press tour in the Jordan Valley and we were detained by the Israeli army. There were a bunch of journalists there, and as you can notice, I'm the only one filming because I'm the only one who has an Israeli passport, so I'm the only one who's allowed to film.
Yes, back in September, they stopped funding the Census Bureau's Food Security Survey, FSS.
Defending my country. Who are you defending? You're right now detained a bunch of people, stole their IDs, and you're standing and chatting. This is defending. This is how you defend your country.
So I can tell you right now that's not how I defend my country. Okay, that's
clearly.
Yeah, there is terrorists that I stopped.
Yeah, there are terrorists up there. Up there is a settlement called Maskiot. Okay. It hosts a lot of terrorists. They committed a lot of terror attacks. They broke a woman's hand here. They burned down a house.
He's talking about the IDF.
You? Yes. Funny. Why is it funny?
You're so stupid. That's what's funny.
Who are you? Who are you?
I'm the IDF. What IDF means?
Never heard of it. I heard of IOF.
Say that again?
I heard of IOF. That one. That's the one that I have heard of. IDF? I don't know.
What is the IOF?
Israeli Occupation Forces.
Boom.
I stands for Israel. D.
Bad start.
What? Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
So he's basically just trolling them or whatever. But they arrest the 2 activists. Did they have charges? No. Right? They blindfold them, arrest them, humiliate them, scare them, and then a couple hours later they just release them. That's the same thing that Trump and us do, right?
Arresting them. On what grounds are you arresting them? On what grounds are you arresting them? On what grounds are you arresting them? On what grounds are you arresting them?
Blindfold them.
Ayman.
Olur. Şimdi. Hi. Long live Israel.
The 2 detained journalists were released the same day with no charges. Their arrest was purely for It's the same thing. It's the same tactic ICE has. It's the same tactic Maduro has. It's the same tactic dictators have, right? To show how much power they have. We'll arrest you. It has a chilling effect. It scares people. It gets less people to come out. It makes more people are going to go ahead and comply, right? Most people don't give up their rights kicking and screaming. They do it silently, right? Just out of not exercising them and never using them or not testing the status quo. And they charge people knowing they're going to lose cases, but it kind of fucks up your life. You got to go to court and potentially to jail until you get to court and see a judge and spend money and hire a lawyer. And they know this. They know all this. And they've got unlimited time and unlimited money, right? It's not affecting them any. All right, guys. We started a little early, so I guess we'll end a little bit early. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I heard it was Bert's birthday. So in honor of Bert's birthday, what I'd like you guys to do is send me a donation at buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer. Buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer to wish Bert a happy birthday. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was good for me. Hope it was good for you. We'll see you on the next one. Be trick-or-treating tomorrow, so I don't foresee myself in the studio, but I usually go live while we trick-or-treat, so.
You don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet.
Now Legend subscribes for 3 years in a row.
The rest of the world.
God, you're like a fucking Litsuko over there.
Okay, Scott. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Wait. Stop. What? What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3.
Good night, everybody.
Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him.
Donate for Bert's birthday to me.
Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They be working copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Ass on throwing bullshit, shit and runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience. It's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fuck